Welcome to the Tuesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Tuesday. Sorry about that, folks. I embarrassingly forgot to hit the go live button, but that's okay. It happens, and now we're here. You may not automatically go live button, more privacy for you. Yeah, I mean, I certainly hope I don't have like an automatic system that makes me go live, whether I want to or not. That would be disconcerting. Nope, it's just very simple. I forgot to press the go live, or I thought I did, and I didn't. So I went to go do stuff and prepare, and I came back, and there was no live stream. I was wondering what the heck happened to my notifications, to the live stream that comes up. Usually, it'll give you like a little, notification and whatnot, and none of those were there. So I was like, what is going on here? And I realized I never actually pressed the button. Womp, 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 womp. How's it going, Mono? Mayhem Hippie, how's it going? Yeah, it happens. All right, folks, so we've got a couple of updates, and then we will get started. Couple of updates on this whole Trump indictment stuff. I know it's a big thing. Behind the scenes, a special secret stream. What? Yeah, there's a special secret stream that I have to activate apparently. So with regards to the Trump indictment stuff, there have been some protests that happened or are ongoing. Not quite sure at this time. In New York, the Trump people were greatly outnumbered by the anti-Trump protests, of course, and there was a bomb threat called into that courthouse. It turned out not to be like a real bomb threat, but a bomb threat was called in. And I also, I might be wrong, but I also realized that it's so like this guy is just incapable of just saying anything truthful, anything remotely truthful, for like 1 second of his life. Because I looked into it a little bit, and the grand juries for this case, or for that court, maybe, I would have to go back and reread it. They don't convene on Tuesdays, folks. They don't convene on Tuesdays. They convene on Mondays and Wednesdays. So to say that he could be indicted today is just kind of weird, because they don't convene today. At least that jury doesn't. They'll be convening tomorrow. Maybe that's when we will find out. I've seen several articles saying that it may be not tomorrow, maybe weeks. Who knows? Not bad yourself. I'm hanging in there. Not many people. Trump dominating the headlines again, but Trump has other cases. Well, yeah, of course. This whole thing is absolutely dominating the headlines, because I mean, yeah, if a ex-president of the United States gets indicted, I think that I think that's a big deal. It's not just an ex-president who's getting indicted. It's an ex-president who is currently also running. So, I mean, yeah, that would definitely, that would make sense. That would make sense to cover. Trump was hoping for another January 6th. Yeah. Here's the thing. Who was it that said that these people think it's going to be like a like a false flag or some kind of deal. Who said that? Was it Bipedal Meatbag? I'm pretty sure. I can't remember. Or was it you, Mayhem? One of you definitely made a comment, something to the effect of like, oh, they might not protest because they think it's going to be some kind of like, trap. Uh, it turns out, I don't know if you guys were joking or not, but unironically, the number of people that decided to protest was very minimal, um, because of that reason too. I saw an article that said that like these Trumper people are paranoid and think that it's some kind of trap that if they show up and protest, they're all gonna get clapped. And yeah, they are, but not because of any political reasons or anything like that. It's because you would be committing obstruction of justice if you did that. You'd be committing a crime. So that's the reason why you would be arrested. Okay? But I found that pretty funny. Um yeah, exactly. It would be obstruction, but they thought that there was some like, plot against them. So they did they didn't show up in as big numbers as they could have. They're already gathering outside Mar-a-Lago. Really? Can we get some links for that? Is that like live? I saw the Daily Mail report that tomorrow is the day, and they're working with the Secret Service for him to arrive next week for court. Yeah, okay. So this would make sense, Mayhem Hippie. This would make more sense because, like I said, I tried to read up a little bit more about this scenario, this situation, and the grand juries don't meet today, so it's not possible that he would be indicted today because they're not in session or whatever it's called. That's tomorrow. So yeah, it might. The big news day is tomorrow. All right. Let me now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get some music. All right. Short clip. All right, I got it.
Several sources familiar with the matter say do not expect developments today in the Trump grand jury matter. They say the next scheduled grand jury date is tomorrow, and they believe that it's the earliest we may learn more as what to comes next. The possible indictment now has many for and against Trump voicing their opinions. Derek Lowe live near Mar-a-Lago this morning along Southern Boulevard. And Derek, even yesterday, there were large...
Maybe the reason why Trump said that like he might get indicted today is so that they can like already start gathering to give them enough time to gather. I don't know. Maybe that's why. There's the link. All right.
Okay, thank you. Well, let's start really simple. What does it mean for you to be here today?
It means that I'm standing with one of the greatest men that I've ever met in my life. And I did meet President Donald J. Trump personally.
Is her face okay? Well, these people are not okay.
Like, what does it mean to support him, I guess? What, in your words, what makes a Trump supporter different from other supporters?
Okay, first of all, I'm an American, and I'm proud to be. And I love that...
What does this have to do with anything? Oh, yeah, okay, so both of you post... Damn, both of you are fast. All right. I watched this over and James stream earlier. Gotcha. We'll just do cliff notes then.
He loves America.
He loves
And
America.
that
What does that even mean? He loves America. How do you quantify that? Has he made like what policies has he made? Has he enacted that are beneficial to Americans? Yeah, empty had no thoughts exactly. Like, can we point to at least like a policy that we can say like, okay, well, I think that Trump's policy on whatever was positive, and then you would have to demonstrate to me how that came out, how that came to be. How does America love Trump? It did so by showing him the door. Like, what does that even mean? He loves
So what
America.
it means for me to stand with President Trump as an American. He loves this country, and I love this country. I was born and raised right here in Florida.
How?
I'm a true Floridian. So
What does
to
that
have
even
someone
mean?
that truly loves this nation, loves this country,
How?
and has done so much as a
Wh-
father's heart.
What
It's just
policy?
amazing. And like I said, I personally met President Donald J. Trump. Actually, we were out on a street corner like this several years back, and he called for all of us to come back, and I personally was able to hug him and pray with him, and he was so precious, just like my father. I was actually missing my dad, and I said to
Oh
God,
God. Jesus Christ.
in my heart, I needed a father's hug that day. It was near
This is all
Thanksgiving
MAGA
in
brainwashing.
2019.
Yep.
And when we were called back, and I realized that God gave me the best daddy in the whole world, Donald J. Trump, to give me a father's hug. It just
Jesus Christ. Are you listening to this? God gave her the best father that she could ask for. Donald J. What? Oh my God, this is a freaking cult, folks. It gets better. I want to hear. You mean daddy? Is that what you want to hear? Is that what you want to hear? Daddy? It gets better? Oh man. How's it going, Wolf Glenn? Oh Lord.
so deeply, and I didn't know I had a picture of it because we weren't allowed to take anything in. But a month later, his photographer
Wait.
sent the pictures, and there was the picture. So now I can share so people don't think I'm making up a story.
That's a great story.
It's the truth.
When she tells you what her job is, doing fine.
Tell me a little bit about your outfit today.
Today, because I believe that we are in a war. We are in a spiritual battle.
In
I
a
came here to-
spiritual okay. Whoo boy. When she tells you what her job is, doing fine.
Day to take back from the enemy's camp, to decree and proclaim that America will be for God once again, that people will
Oh,
humble
God.
themselves. and
No, America was never for God. No, that's not. In fact, it was the exact opposite. The whole point was religious freedom, supposedly. Oh, doing fine. Oh! I thought she said that like later in the interview. I'm sorry. Good. Don the armor of God and wade into battle against the leftist demons. Yeah, this is exactly what this is about. This is some Christian dominionism bullshit. Whew.
and seek his face and turn from their wicked ways.
It gets better.
And that God
Oh, God.
will hear from heaven and heal our land. We are in a battle, and it's a spiritual battle. I know that we're fighting the natural by standing up, standing out, speaking up, and showing up. But we also
What?
stand in the battle on our knees, praying and seeking God for change.
Tell me
No
a little bit
standards.
About, what happens if Trump gets indicted and he gets charged? What does the world look like without President Trump and more of a President DeSantis?
Well, that's scary, the thought of President DeSantis, but I know this, because I know that God is faithful. I know that no matter what...
There's a scary thought of President DeSantis. I mean, yeah, dude, honestly, true. The woman can't feel God if she admits that Lindell and Trump are wrong. True. Wow, look at this cult member, one of the comments said.
Happens to President Trump. God is in charge of everything, and that he will turn this around for his glory and our good. Because the God I serve, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Adonai, Jehovah. Thank you. God bless you.
Please, your name?
Sure. Cindy Falco DiCorrado.
Between people who like Santos
Like
and people who
Frank,
think he backstabbed Trump.
ALCO,
Yep.
hyphenated DiCorrado. Capital D-I, capital C-O-R-R-A-D-O.
Wait.
And how old are you, ma'am?
I am going to be 65 this year. Thank you.
And what do you do for work? If you do
I'm a minister, as well as I stand up for righteousness and truth and fight the battles. I was also falsely arrested and dragged out of an Einstein Bagels for not wearing a mask. I was kidnapped by the Palm Beach County Police.
What? Okay.
My ground, and God travailed.
perfect. And are you a Florida resident?
I'm born and raised in Florida. I'm a native. Miami, but I live here now.
Oh, Lord. A candidate for Boynton Beach mayor convicted of first 2-degree misdemeanors was ordered to pay a fine. Wait, that's her? That's her? Must pay a $411 fine, but ignored the state attorney's recommendation of 6 months probation along with community. Oh, man. Damn.
In Palm Beach, yes. And I do live here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
God bless you.
I feel like you're moments away from taking a bite out of the mic. True. All I do is, like, eat the mic. This is her, folks. This is her. Convicted of 2 first-degree misdemeanors? Jesus Christ. Oh, man. After Assistant State Attorney Jeremiah Romano detailed his sentencing recommendations, Falco DiCorrado was given the chance to answer. She followed by lying on her stomach on the courtroom and praying and reciting the Lord's Prayer at least 12 times before appearing to speak in tongues. Jesus. Would you say you have a strong throat game, maybe even the throat coat? Listen, no one can take that away from Nancy Reagan. Stop it. Anyways. Yeah, this is the kind of clowns that this is the kind of cult members that you find in the Trump camp. Nice. There's a picture of her posing with the Proud Boys. Yeah, not surprised. Affiliating with domestic terrorist organizations. Yeah. I mean, not surprising. Anyways, Falco DiCorrado is a former Boynton Beach advisory board who was forced to resign in December after she was accused of making racist comments and other inappropriate remarks. Yep, not surprising at all from like Trump, a standard Trumper. I mean, this is like the most default like stereotype that you could possibly give me. It's actually quite sad. Hey, Echo Resto Dragon. This is not a Trump. This is not a Trump rally. This is people. That's not allowed, dude. Fuck off. That's not allowed. It is I guess a gathering of people trying to show support for Trump in the face of possible indictment. But no, this is like a gathering. This is outside of Mar-a-Lago, correct? Yeah, this is outside of Mar-a-Lago. A human moat, if you will. Is this the video from her? How do I? Oh.
Wrong. I am not a criminal. Get your hands off of
Step
me.
out.
Get your hands off of me.
Ma'am.
No.
Sir, it's
Get your
okay,
hands off of
Daddy.
me.
Ma'am?
That's a violation.
Ma'am?
Take
Ma'am?
your hand
Ma'am?
off of
Ma'am?
me. Sir.
Yeah.
Don't come behind
Read
me.
the Constitution. You need to read the Constitution.
Yeah, this
Get
is
your
her.
hands off of me. You don't have the right to do this. You're taking a picture of this. This is so illegal.
There's nothing illegal if the private business doesn't want you there. You will be removed. So yeah, dude, whatever. Cult members, more cult members. Look at
We
that.
expect him to serve his term as governor, and if he goes and breaks his promise against Floridians, then people are going to be really angry at him. So, like I said, we expect him to serve his term and not run up against Donald Trump. And if he does, it's going to be a bad end result for him. He's gonna suffer big time, I think, if he tries that.
So essentially, basically saying that Ron DeSantis, yeah, if you do, I'm just gonna ban you. You know what? Why don't we just not even indulge that? Yeah, totally not a cult. Like, totally not a cult.
And then for today,
DeSantis is actually in a pretty good spot if his play is to usurp
Pro-America.
Trump.
Make America great again.
You think so? I mean, if we find ourselves in a situation where Trump does get indicted and is not able to effectively run a campaign, DeSantis would probably be the only one that could be remotely close to take that spot. He's pushed policy that Republicans like. Oh, yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And then what's your first name and last name?
My first name's Colton. My last name's McCormick.
How do you spell your last name?
MCC.
I love how they're just willingly. Yeah, effectiveness. He's done more than Trump did. Yeah, 100%. DeSantis is much more dangerous than Trump. DeSantis is much more dangerous. Several sources close to President Trump says that he's currently huddling at his private club in Mar-a-Lago, meeting with his team, including his lawyers and senior advisors, from his campaign operation as he awaits a possible indictment in New York. Yeah, I mean, if it turns out that he can't run or won't run because he's going to have to face the music or whatever, I mean, DeSantis is the one that's going to probably take up the mantle. DeSantis is 100% more dangerous than Trump. That I have no doubt of.
ORMICK.
I love how they're willingly doxing themselves while being viewed by 33,000 people in 5 hours in 5 hours.
18. Yeah.
So this will be your first time you're voting?
I voted for the midterms last year, but yeah.
And then, sorry, super quick. What do you do for work?
Right now, I have a job. I'm not gonna say where, but I just graduated high school last year, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet. Maybe college or something.
God. You have to sign a release. If an indictment is handed down, it's likely Trump would fly from Mar-a-Lago to New York and turn himself in. I mean, yeah, he doesn't really have a choice. He can turn himself in, or they'll go get him. According to a Trump advisor, he's considering making a statement in front of the Manhattan Criminal Court before turning himself in. Two of the former president attorneys and in the Justice Department investigation, Jim Trusty and Christina Bobb, have also been involved in dealing with Bragg's investigation. Yeah, or fly to Russia. No, I don't think he. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
I'm not sure.
Sorry, we're ordering food.
That's okay.
And then, what are you, I guess my last question is, were you born and raised in Florida?
Yep, born and raised in Florida.
And
I voted for DeSantis last election for governor, so.
In West Palm Beach? Or just
Yep,
in-
West Palm Beach. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yep,
Mr.
have a good
Cole.
one. Thank you.
Wait. Oh, okay. Never mind.
Somewhere around the 2014 area.
The last interview is the best. Trump has an official rally on March 25th. Well, not if he has other problems. Can we get like an overview of like how big this was, just to get a whoa? Can we get an overview of how big this was? Ali with the 15 biddies. Thank you so much. Oh, I see Alex Jones is around. Talking about graphene in the vaccines or whatever.
Not now, but he's over there. But he makes us feel like we matter. And we care.
Well, I've got news for you. He doesn't give a shit about people like you. Oh, it's this lady?
Yes.
Listen, more if you didn't care about them, why would their flags be so big? True. Ex-President of Secret Service also, there'll be no handcuffs. Gotcha. As much as we would like to see, I don't think we'll see Trump doing the perp walk in cuffs, but we will see a mugshot. Question is, mugshot without or without makeup? Bipedal meatbag, how's it going? I think they're compensating for something with those large flags. They do tend to have large trucks, too. Obnoxiously large trucks.
All right, ma'am. Sorry. It's been a little crazy. All right, ma'am. So, I can hold it that way. You're free. So, in a couple words, tell me why it's important to support President Trump during this moment.
I've been supporting him for pushing 8 years now, but not doing this. I believe in him. He did a lot for this country. He's not done. He can do it again.
Like what? Why do we need to gesture at some like vague, like, he did a lot for this country. He was a great president. Okay, what policy? Can you point to me a policy, please?
We're not protesting, we're supporting, and we're going to keep it up.
Oh, so it's not a protest. Oh, good to know.
He's our president.
What does it mean to be a Trump supporter during this time and age? You know, there's so much turmoil. There's so much, differences.
I wear Trump shirts, my bracelets, my hat, everywhere I go. I get a few
Trust me, lady. We gathered.
people make comments, but mostly they don't. Mostly it's positive. There's a lot of Trump supporters.
Because also with like DeSantis possibly running,
Nope.
how would you feel about that?
No, not now. I supported him when he ran. He's been a good governor.
Oh, man. The cult, man. The cult is strong. The cult is strong. Ah.
done wonders for Florida. There's a few more things I want him to do, like election integrity and get rid of Dominion computers for elections. What? There's more he can do here.
Wait, what?
And maybe in 4 years, we'd all be behind him.
Wait. I'm sorry. Hold on. What? Like, this is how you know, like, these people are brainwashed beyond reason. Because, like, Florida, out of all places, Florida had a pretty smooth election. Florida completed its election very, very fast and very smooth. The results were in, they were accurate. There was no real problems. Even like the problematic counties that had like a really bad, election board, they ended up being pretty smooth, and the state went to Trump. So what election integrity in Florida does DeSantis have to address? And explain to me how he's going to get, quote unquote, rid of Dominion. Was she talking about Trump being governor or DeSantis? Oh, I believe DeSantis.
But most everybody I know that for a Trump supporter is not happy. And with his comments yesterday, oh, that was wrong what they're doing. But I don't know about prostitutes and porno. I mean, that was a low slam. Trump can get away with that. He's not Trump. And he's never going to be. He's using Trump's playbook. I love our governor, but Trump's our man.
Trump can get away with that, but he can't. What? Oh man, the cult is strong.
And for one of my last questions is, why, besides, the policy, besides doing the right thing, what else behind Trump is like, that's the guy for us?
First of all,
Trump can get, yeah, I know, it's, oh man, the cult. Oh man, listen, leave logic at the door, please. Kool-Aid is on the right. And just make sure that you leave logic and critical thinking at the door.
he does what he says. Promises made, promises kept.
Which
and
ones?
For a billionaire,
Whoa.
he can relate to us down.
Whoa. What?
The right thing. What else behind Trump is?
What promises were made and what promises were kept? This is just a slogan that you're reciting.
Is like, that's the guy for us.
First of all, he does what he says. Promises made, promises kept.
Yeah, the famous grab him by the P word. Yeah.
For a billionaire, he can relate to us down here.
Yeah, dude. I too remember when billionaires can relate to the working class. If these court cases continue, Trump won't be holy anymore. No, he will. Trust me, the cult is strong. It doesn't matter. They'll just say it's a witch hunt, and that it's unfair prosecution of the president. That's what they'll say. Yeah, these deep state honeypot.
I mean, I don't know how he does it. Whatever it is, we feel he's one of us. Even though he's sitting over, not now, but he's over there. But he makes us feel like we matter.
No. He doesn't give a shit about any of you. And, no, he doesn't relate to any of you.
And we care. But the others don't. He's not in it for money. He didn't need it for fame. Everybody knew Donald Trump. He didn't need power, money, or name. He had it all. And he gave up a lot of it for us. So,
And then tell me your first and last name.
Kathy.
I love
Clark.
how they just just willingly give their complete names.
It's C-L-A-R-K.
K.
And how old are you, Miss Clark?
75.
75. Are you retired?
Yes.
How long have you been a resident, or are you born in Florida?
I've been in Florida since I was 11 years old.
11.
Yeah.
11 years old.
Yeah.
Where are you from originally?
West Virginia.
Have you always been a Republican?
Yes. My father was, and when they took me to sign up when I was of age, Republican was it.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So I basically was forced into the political worldview that my dad imposed on me. Gotcha. Or else the journalists cannot use the footage. Oh, oh, gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, there's your groomers. True. Trump likes them on January 6th. Nah, he doesn't. He doesn't. They're just pawns. They're just. Oh, that's what. Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's what Wolfglen was talking about. Gotcha. For post editing. Gotcha. Yeah, no, he doesn't care even if they're doing what he wants. They're just pawns to him.
Thank you.
All right.
When you eat
Whoa.
spinning Sicilian,
Maybe 100 to 500. That's a big range there. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay.
Large groups of people there showing support and speaking out.
Even though we are not expecting many developments seen here, right? Of wait to see what happens with this potential leak out. They've been possible.
Record numbers of campaign finances.
Yeah. Anyways. All right, beat Human Moat. He's just using them as a shield. Yeah. He doesn't give a shit. All right, folks. Let's do this one.
With that payment to Stormy Daniels being that it was made on behalf of the candidate, okay, and it was not declared, that's fair game. The answer is 100% no.
As we all wait to see what happens with Donald Trump and this potential indictment that may be coming down, there has been a clip that has resurfaced of Donald Trump's current lawyer.
Yeah, like, I mean, do these people, like, not realize? Did these people not realize that the internet is forever, and if you said something online at any point, or it's digitized in any way, shape, or form, it is there forever. Okay? It is there forever. If you made a video, if you were on a mainstream media and that's online, it's forever.
Joe Tacopina, which, look, I gotta admit, I have a bias here in the story. I love tacos. I love pina coladas. I'll keep that in mind as I try and report accurately the facts in this case. But this amazing turn from what Tacopina was saying back in 2018 to what he is saying now is just... This is exactly why people hate lawyers. So before I get into the first clip, just quickly here, in case you don't know what's happening
anything
with
on the
Trump right
internet.
now. Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan District Attorney, whose office is bringing the case, is focused on Trump's involvement in the payment of hush money to an adult film actress, Stormy Daniels, who said she had an affair with him. Michael Cohen, Trump's fixer at the time and lawyer at the time, made the payment during the final days of the 2016 presidential campaign. So more on Cohen in a minute. But first, this is what Taco Pino was saying to Aaron Burnett at CNN just last week.
Does anyone actually believe, anyone, left, right, middle, whatever, that if someone else were accused of paying hush money to avoid a public sex scandal in the manner that Donald Trump is alleged to have avoided a public sex scandal, they would be prosecuted? The answer is 100% no.
All right, so before I get to what Taco Pina was saying back in 2018, just to answer his question here, he's wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, you would be prosecuted. In fact, not just in a general sense, but in this very case. Michael Cohen. Do you all remember Michael Cohen? This is who I was just talking about?
Right. Like, the issue wasn't that, like, you know, he gave money. The issue wasn't that he gave money. It was the manner and the money. Didn't the money come from, like, didn't the money come from, like, campaign? Or there was, like, some really, like, financially, like, sketchy way that the money was done. And that's why he's in hot water. Okay? It's not because he had an affair. Nobody gives a shit about that. It's not because he had, like, a scandalous story that he wanted to bury. Nobody gives a shit about that. That isn't the issue. The reason why he's, like, 5 seconds away from being, you know, indicted, it's because he did so in an improper way. Yeah, creative accounting, so to speak. Yes. That was the problem.
Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, he went to jail. Do you know why? This from the AP. Cohen was sentenced to prison in December 2018 after pleading guilty to campaign finance charges and lying to Congress, among other crimes. In all, he spent about 13 and a half months behind prison walls and a year and a half in home confinement. His time was further reduced through good behavior. The campaign finance charges came after he helped arrange payouts during the 2016 presidential race to keep the adult actress Stormy Daniels and model Karen McDougal from making public claims of extramarital affairs with Trump. Trump has denied the affairs. Michael Cohen already went to prison for this. How can you claim that nobody would be prosecuted for this when Michael Cohen has in this case?
Right, correct. It was about how. It was about how and where those funds came from. That's the issue.
But apart from that, let's get to what Taco Pina was saying back in 2018.
Once that net is out, once the microscope is on you, everything is fair game. And it's hard to argue, oh, you can't look at this or you can't look at that. So yes, if there's an issue with that payment to Stormy Daniels being that it was made on behalf of the candidate, okay, and it was not declared, that's fair game, unfortunately, if that's the case. And, you know, quite frankly, you know, Michael Cohen, again, has made statements that would give rise to suspicion for any prosecutor to say, that doesn't make sense, that a lawyer took out a home equity loan with his own money, paid somebody that he didn't even know on behalf of a client who, by the way, had the wherewithal and the money to afford $130,000. And by the way, didn't tell the client about the settlement agreement. It's an illegal agreement. It's a fraud. If that's in fact the case, it doesn't pass the straight face test. And quite frankly, if that is what happened, we have a potential campaign finance issue.
Yeah. Right, which is exactly what this whole entire thing is about. So contrary to the, hey, whoa, hey, come back. Oh, Jesus.
With that payment.
Oh, how
have a potential campaign finance issue.
Yeah, so that's the issue right there, violating like campaign laws and stuff like that. I mean, like, again, this shouldn't be like a surprise to people, right? A lifelong career con man finally finally gets caught for checks notes doing a con. I mean, like, this shouldn't be to the surprise of anybody. Quite frankly, the only thing that's surprising about this thing is the possibility of accountability. Really. That's the only thing surprising about this story.
Yeah.
Oh, how things have changed. That's fair game. It's an illegal agreement. Defraud doesn't pass the straight face test. Potential campaign finance issue. But now, what? Not? Is it possibly because Trump is now paying you as his lawyer? So just to be extra clear, let me play those two clips back to back.
If someone else were accused of paying hush money to avoid a public sex scandal in the manner that Donald Trump is alleged to have avoided a public sex scandal, they would be prosecuted. The answer is 100% no. So yes, if there's an issue with that payment to Stormy Daniels being that it was made on behalf of the candidate, okay, and it was not declared, that's fair game.
It cannot be any clearer. He knows. Of course he knows. Of course he knows that Trump...
Yeah, of course. But, like, yeah, he's also his lawyer. So, like, you know, he's also his lawyer. So he kind of has to do this, you know? He kind of has to do this. I'm just saying. Oh, hey, come back. There we go.
Should not have done what he did. He knew back when he wasn't being paid by Trump. Not like he all of a sudden forgot. This guy should not, like, he's been on interviews. He was on, I think last night he was in interviews. How is this clip not brought up to him? Like, any interview that he's done since becoming Trump's lawyer in defense of Trump in this case, it's media malpractice for those people working on those shows to not do a simple basic search. Hey, what was this guy saying back when he wasn't Trump's lawyer? Let's
check this out. Nah, no links allowed.
Let's look through the tape. There can't be that many appearances. Just look it up, find these clips, and then surprise him with this stuff. Catch him off guard. That's what should have happened before this came out the way it did online. But now that this is out, like, how can anyone possibly take him seriously? Like, this has to be brought up every single time he makes an appearance. Now, just to end on here, since, you know, again, we're waiting on this potential indictment, let's see what is happening outside of Trump Tower, because I'm hearing a lot of Trump supporters are supposed to be out there defending, standing up for Trump. If you're a former president, you can break the law, I guess is their angle here. Interestingly enough, at least as of recording this, not a whole lot of Trump support right now. So I'll get to a reporter's account as to maybe why that is, but here's Newsmax, which of course is a very pro-Trump network covering what is actually happening right now outside Trump Tower.
Interestingly enough, we bring you this live shot here. We know the former president has called for protests in a peaceful manner. Many Republicans push back on that, but interestingly enough, it's the opposite side that's outside protesting now, saying insurrection, TikTok time's up, no one is above the law, Trump is guilty. Again, many supporting the possible indictment of former President Trump.
Yeah, so at least as of recording this, doesn't appear to be a whole lot of support for Trump right now, but this may be why. So Ben Collins, reporter here, tweets out a quick update. Pro-Trump influencers are trying to organize anti-indictment rallies tonight, one in New York City and one at Mar-a-Lago, mostly on Telegram. Trump fans are mostly telling each other not to go, saying it's a Fed trap. This mirrors most pro-Trump protest failures since January 6th. So... even though
you'll love to see it, folks. You'll love to see it. Paranoid cult is hamstringing itself.
Trump is calling for them to protest for him. A lot of them appear to be a little skittish about the idea because they think it is a way for the feds to trap them. And here's an update to that. So Ben Collins writes, I'm at a pro-Trump protest put on by the New York Young Republicans Club. Not a joke. There are more reporters here than Trump supporters. This was supposed to be the big one.
The big one.
So there you go. See a few red hats, a lot of cameras. Looks like a fun time. I don't know what else to say. Joe Taco Pina. I'm never going to look at tacos and pina coladas the same ever again.
That's funny. The cult, folks. That is the only way of describing what we're seeing here. Just the way like they talk, and just the way they talk, and the way they're so paranoid. They're so paranoid that they've managed to hamstring themselves. It's amazing. All right, folks. Tomorrow we'll see what the big announcement is. If it happens, we'll definitely be covering it during the regular stream. I may make an announcement on like Discord to raise awareness if any developments happen, but other than that, we'll definitely see what happens tomorrow. All right, so just to kind of close off this discussion for today until tomorrow. Rand Paul was saying that
Amazon, it was
what
a
is
lot
this?
Of self-doubt. After earning
How
my
do
GED,
I
I
stop
felt like
this?
I can go anywhere. Amazon's what my girlfriend, so we're gonna take advantage. I was able to save more money. I was able to live on my own.
Who is Ron DeSantis? Nobody doubts the governor of the Sunshine State is
Where
smart.
is this coming from?
Nobody
It's
doubts
from
he
this.
is confident, and nobody doubts
Ugh,
that he
Jesus
is
Christ,
driven.
shut up.
But
Anyways. Okay. Senator Rand Paul says the DA investigating Trump should be put in jail. Yes. The famous libertarian small government is literally saying that this person potentially investigating a crime, securing enough evidence to convene a grand jury, and so far the evidence is pointing towards an indictment. So I guess because they should be put in jail. That's kind of weird. Senator Paul said the Manhattan District Attorney should be put in jail. Paul's comments came in a tweet today and follows the former president's prediction that he would be indicted for his alleged role in making a $130,000 payment to the adult film actress Stormy Daniels before the 2016 presidential election to silence about her previous affairs. A Trump indictment would be a disgusting abuse of power. How? Explain to me how that would be an abuse of power. So in other words, basically what Rand Paul is saying is that we should just not enforce any laws. Laws are basically meaningless. We should not have any type of rule of law whatsoever. Because any attempt to enforce or any investigation into possible criminality is just an abuse of power, I guess. So, I mean, that's basically what he's saying. Rand Paul needs to go visit his neighbor, true. The Kentucky senator did not provide any further detail or context on the tweet, and Trump had not been formally indicted as of right now. Yeah. Cool. Also, the GOP is attempting to get testimony from the investigators, but, I mean, that's all dog and pony show. And a more darker, in a more darker theme, DeSantis has called the Manhattan DA a Soros-funded DA who is weaponizing the office as Trump rumors swirl. This is obviously incredibly dog whistly. It couldn't be more clear when you hear people talk about Soros funded. Come on. Let's be quite honest. Let's be quite honest as to who he's speaking here to. As who he's speaking to here. I would also like to kind of refresh people's memories. There was a neo-Nazis showing up in support of DeSantis, and to my knowledge, till this day, DeSantis has not really disavowed any of them. I wonder why. I wonder why DeSantis hasn't disavowed those neo-Nazis that were protesting for him. It's very interesting. Let's take a look at the full quote. But I do know this, he said, Ron DeSantis. The Manhattan District Attorney is a Soros-funded prosecutors, and so he, like other Soros-funded prosecutors, they weaponize their office to impose a political agenda on society at the expense of the rule of law and public safety. This is literally no different than like him saying they. This is literally no different than Ron DeSantis echo posting. This is indistinguishable from 4chan posts talking about Soros-funded whatever, insert enemy here. Insert political opponent here, or group that you don't like. Just say they're Soros-funded because it's another euphemism. It's a dog whistle. So again, I ask, why hasn't he denounced those Nazis that came to protest in Florida for him? And I want you to think about who he's speaking to when he uses, because he doesn't have to use these terms, folks. He doesn't have to use these words. They are a deliberate choice. They are a deliberate choice because, like, you know, if he was just really big mad that this was some kind of political play, he would just say so. But he adds that rhetorical flair of saying Soros funded twice here in this quote. It's obvious who he's speaking to. Apart from that, it's bullshit. He doesn't explain how they would be weaponizing their office to impose a political agenda. The political agenda that people shouldn't be using campaign funds in an improper way. I don't understand. What political agenda are you talking about? Perhaps, are you talking about the political agenda that the Soros-funded prosecutors are trying to enact? And I wonder, what political agenda could you even be referring to? I mean, come on, chat. This cannot be any more clear, right? He's effectively... He's effectively just echo posting. He's basically talking about the Jewish question. Because there's no other need for rhetoric like this. There's no other need for rhetoric like this. He's talking about the Jewish question. Because what political agenda is there? If you're breaking the law, you're breaking the law, right? Anyways, I'm just saying, when I say that Ron DeSantis is more dangerous than Donald Trump, pretty sure I'm making my case more clear. Motherfucker unironically is like Nazi posting, like as if he was like a 4chan poll user. He just talks a little bit better and isn't as bombastic. But I can assure you, this motherfucker is much more dangerous than Trump. All right, folks. Switching gears. Scientists deliver final warning on climate crisis. Act now or it's too late. Scientists have delivered a final warning on the climate crisis as rising greenhouse gas emissions push the world to the brink of irrevocable damage that only swift and drastic action can avert. The IPCC, made up of the world's leading climate scientists, set out the final part of its Mammoth 6 assessment report on Monday. Comprehensive review of human knowledge on the climate crisis took hundreds of scientists 8 years to compile and runs to thousands of pages, but boiled down to one message: act now or it will be too late. I mean, yeah, we've kind of had this like theme going on for a while now. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said that this report is a clarion call to massively fast-track climate efforts by every country and every sector on every time frame. Our world needs climate action on all fronts, everything, everywhere, all at once. I mean, in other words, yeah, we need to move in as quickly as possible in every way as possible to stop greenhouse gases, not emissions, not approving more fossil fuel projects. This is not the time for that. In sober language, the IPCC sets out the devastation that has already been inflicted on swaths of the world. Extreme weather caused by climate breakdown has led to increased deaths from intensifying heat waves in all regions, millions of lives and homes destroyed in droughts and floods, millions of people facing hunger, and an increasingly irreversible losses in vital ecosystems, which, again, may I remind you, are the things that keep us alive. The final Monday's final assessment. More unsolicited OT? Wait, what? How's it going, Maple Leaf? Monday's final installment, called the Synthesis Report, is almost certain... I'm trying to figure out what OT means. Overwork and underpaid. Oh. Yeah, you should not be working overtime unless it's paid. That's just how it should be. While the world still has a chance of limiting global temperatures to 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels, the threshold beyond which our damage to the climate will rapidly become irreversible. Kasanen, a climate expert at Greenpeace International, said this report is definitely a final warning on the 1.5. If governments just stay on their current policies, the remaining carbon budget will be used up before the next IPCC report due in 2030. More than 3 billion people already live in areas that are highly vulnerable to climate breakdown, and half of the global population now experiences severe water scarcity for at least part of the year. In many areas, the report warned, we're already reaching the limit to which we can adapt to such severe changes, and weather extremes are increasingly driving displacement of people in Africa, Asia, North, Central, and South America, and the South Pacific. I mean, everywhere. I just prefer to have the choice. Gotcha. As long as the very large volcanoes don't go, humans will have a chance to survive. I mean, yeah, they'll have a chance. It's just going to be really effed. That's the whole point. All those impacts are set to increase rapidly as we have failed to reverse the 200-year trend of rising greenhouse gas emissions, despite more than 30 years of warning from the IPCC, which published its first report in 1990. The world heats up in response to the accumulation of CO2 and other greenhouse gases and the atmosphere, so every year in which emissions continue to rise eats up the available quote-unquote carbon budget. Don't act like we deserve better than a chance. True. Means more drastic cuts will be needed in future years. Yet there's still hope of staying within the 1.5, according to the report. Hosung Lee, the chair of the IPCC, said the synthesis report underscores the urgency of taking more ambitious actions and shows that if we act now, we can still secure a livable, sustainable future for all. Yeah, well, here's the problem. Well, technically, there might be pathways to maintain within that 1.5 degrees. The reality is, we're just not there. We're just not there. There's no real political will. There's no policies that are being enacted. Not here, not anywhere. That would push us in the right direction significantly. So yes, that's the issue. Technically, yeah, if we act today, if we start today, and we do everything that we need to do, and we radically change our systems, maybe, but I don't see any real movement toward policies or anything like that would significantly push us in that direction. So, and I think we can, like, and most people, I think, accept that. Most scientists accept that, given the fact that, like, the language has changed. But yeah. Temperatures are now about 1.1 above pre-industrial levels. The IPCC found if greenhouse gas emissions can be made to peak as soon as possible, and are reduced rapidly in the following years, it may still be possible to avoid the worst ravages that would follow a 1.5 degree rise. Do you think that Trump will get arrested? Who knows? We'll see tomorrow. Is it possible? Yeah. Is it possible? Yeah. It's the closest that we've seen. Given the fact of, like, so much interagency communication, especially with, like, Secret Service getting involved and all this, I mean, it's quite possible. At least they feel confident enough, or at least they feel, it's just weird that he wouldn't get indicted, because, like, why go through the effort of preparing all these, like, barricades and all these extra security measures and blah 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 blah. We only need to ban the use of coal and natural gas and stop ranching cattle and mandate deforestation, using native plants up to 30% of the country's landmass. Yeah, no problem. We'll get right on it. We'll get right on it today. If Georgia goes for it, then we'll definitely see an arrest. Maybe. Maybe that's still pending. In your opinion about the Middle East, I don't know. You're asking the wrong person. You're asking the wrong person for foreign policy. Richard Allen, a professor of climate science at the University of Reading, said every bit of warming avoided due to collective action pulled from our growing, increasingly effective toolkit of options is less worse news. Jesus, what a sentence. For societies and ecosystems on which we all depend on. Guterres called on governments to take drastic action and reduce emissions by investing in renewable energy and low carbon technology. He said rich countries must try to reach net zero greenhouse gas emissions as close as possible to 2040. Rather than waiting for the 2050 deadline most have signed up to. And, like, by signed up to is, like, they pinky sweared and, like, whatever. There's no enforceable treaties or anything like that. He said, quote, "The ticking time bomb is ticking, but today's report is how to guide to defuse the climate time bomb. It is a survival guide for humanity as it shows the 1.5 degrees limit is achievable." Yeah, achievable, sure. Likely, nah. John Kerry, the U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate, said today's message from the IPCC is abundantly clear. We are making progress, but not enough. We have tools to stave off and reduce the risk of worse impacts. We have the tools to stave off and reduce the risk of the worst impacts of the climate crisis, but we must take advantage of this moment to act now. Yeah, but what are you going to do about it? Enough of talking about the problem. We know it's fucked. True, but I was just offering a simple solution with no eye towards practicality. And the U.S. has approved the Willow Project. The Willow Project. That's exactly what I was referring to. Monday Synthesis Report is the final part of the 6 assessments of AR6 by the IPCC, which was set up in 1988 to investigate the climate and provide scientific underpinning to international policy on the crisis. The first 3 sections of AR6, published between August of 21 and April of 2022, covered the physical science behind the climate crisis and warned irreversible changes were now almost inevitable. And Section 2 covered the impacts such as loss of agriculture, rising sea levels, devastation of the natural world, and the third covered the means by which we can cut greenhouse gases, including renewable energy, restoring nature and technologies that capture and store carbon dioxide. The synthesis report contains no new science but draws together key messages from all the preceding work to form a guide for governments. The next IPCC report is not due to be published before 2030, making this report effectively the scientific gold standard for advice to governments in this crucial decade. Supposedly. The final section of the AR6 was the summary for policymakers, written by the IPCC scientists, but scrutinized by representatives of government around the world, who can and did push for changes. The Guardian was told that in the final hours of deliberations at the Swiss resort of the Interlaken over the weekend, the large Saudi Arabian delegation of at least 10 representatives pushed at several points for the weakening of messages on fossil fuels and the insertion of references to carbon capture and storage, touted by some as a remedy for fossil fuel use, but not proven to work at scale. Yeah, I mean, of course. The fact that this was allowed to be influenced by representatives of governments at any point is a miscarriage of how science is supposed to work. If you want my opinion, no government body, I know it's like the International Governmental Panel or whatever, but the actual like politicians and representatives of that government should not be allowed to alter any of the findings or messaging from the scientists themselves. I don't think that should have been allowed. Because like then the only conclusion that we must take from this is that since it was tainted, then we can assume that it's actually probably worse. Way to bring the idealism. Listen, it'll be alright. Science isn't real, true. Hello, Dark Exorcist. Welcome. What can I say? In response to the report, Peter Thorne, the director of the Icarus Climate Research Centre at Maynooth University in Ireland, said that next year global temperatures could breach the 1.5 limit. Though this did not mean that the limit had been breached for the long term. We will almost, regardless of the emission scenario, reach 1.5 in the first half of the next decade. He said, the real question is whether our collective choices mean we stabilize at around 1.5 or crash to 1.5 and reach 2 and keep going. Again, that's realistically, it would not surprise me if we do that. It started raining in Mumbai here, unheard of at this time of year. I mean, weather, like climate patterns are going to be a bit wonky now. All right, folks, the Supreme Court wrestles with questions over the Navajo Nation's water rights. Yep, that's true. Mayhem Hippie. On Monday, the U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments in a case that could alter the already intense battle over water rights in the parched American Southwest. For more than 20 years, the Navajo Nation has fought for access to water from the lower Colorado River, which flows directly alongside the reservation's northwest border. The Navajo Nation Reservation stretches across 27,000 square miles in Arizona, Utah, and New Mexico. Almost a third of the 170,000 people who live there do not have access to clean, reliable drinking water. Yeah, we will breach to 1.5 because multinationals, I assume corporations, do not give a fuck and will continue to lobby governments to continue to not giving a fuck. Yeah, and the cycle continues, yes. That is mainly the problem here. I mean, like, you have, like, the most important, like, research when it comes to climate change. An entire body, an entire, team that's hundreds of people dedicated to this subject. And, like, after they're done, to have, like, the audacity, the gall to let any government, like, have influence over the final kind of, like, presentation of it is just like, it's just wild. It's just wild. If you want, like, my opinion, I think that, like, the IPCC scientists should release their version as is, unedited, as an act of rebellion. Because, like, the situation is pretty fucked. And the situation is pretty fucked, and, like, I think, like, it would have been nice if the scientists just released their version, like the way it was supposed to be, before the government bodies who are obviously being lobbied it got a hold of it. I'm convinced that bio-CNG is the next best thing, renewables and less polluting than fossil fuels. Bio-CNG? Like bio-natural gas? No, that's not. Save for, like, a few, like, niche uses. I mean, the solution is already here. We've got solar, we've got wind, we've got, like, battery technologies that could push this whole thing forward. I mean, really, there's no necessity for fossil fuels. Nuclear is its own niche. Nuclear, the problem with nuclear is the cost. The problem with nuclear is the cost and the time it takes for nuclear plants to get online. And then, like, you then have to do a risk assessment. Do you really want private corporations handling nuclear plants? I mean, we've seen how well PNG has been. We've seen how, like, large companies that are in charge of, like, important things like railways have been. when it comes to safety. Do you really trust like a private corporation? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like, setting that aside, like, it's more likely if you leave that in private hands. I'm sorry, I'm not about to trust private companies with fucking nuclear. It's just not a thing that I'm going to do. Mini fusion reactors are the future. I mean, like in certain, I think like in certain circumstances, maybe, but like the issue then becomes like the price and the time it takes for all these things to come online, versus like, dude, we can start working on solar panels. You know how much square footage of area we have on top of like houses, buildings, parking lots? Yeah, of course they're gonna cut corners. Did you know that like in November there's this company that was in charge of a nuclear plant? They casually did not let the people know that there was a nuclear leak months ago, and that they found like tritium traces in the water. And they, like, you know, failed to notify the public? Yeah. Oregon State University has developed a nuclear reactor that can be retrofitted into existing coal plants. I mean, like, that could be a solution that I could be open to. Fission, gotcha. I mean, like, if it's nuclear versus coal, and you instead of shutting down coal plants, you'd like retrofit them, then like maybe you might be able to get me to be okay with that. But like generally speaking, it's like kind of a case by case basis, right? Jail, yep, straight to jail. Greenpeace worked for decades to lobby against nuclear power. They closed the plant in Vermont for over 10 years ago. They're still cleaning up and constantly monitoring the O plant. Yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't close a nuclear plant to replace it with coal, you know? I'm not going to do that. I wouldn't be like, yeah, we have to close down the nuclear plant and open up a coal plant. That's not a thing that I would agree with. I agree with you about corporate ownership. Yeah, I just don't trust them. Sorry. Nope. Look at Japan and Fukushima. That's still happening. That's still causing harm to the planet today. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Anyways, thousands who live without running water must drive for miles to refill barrels and jugs to haul water home for drinking, cooking, and bathing and cleaning. Others rely on unregulated wells. Did you see the new climate IPCC report? Yep, we did. We just covered it. Absolutely. Thank you, Echo. That was your post, wasn't it? Pretty sure it was your post. But the issue of access to the Colorado River is extremely contentious. The decades-long drought, exacerbated by climate change, has created the driest conditions the American Southwest has seen in centuries. The region's water supply is dwindling, and its population and agricultural output have boomed. The river, which provides water for 40 million people across the entire Southwest, is already overtapped. The 7 states that rely on the river have long been embroiled in litigation over the body of water. Recently, they have struggled to reach an agreement on how to cut back on their water use. Some places are overpopulated. The Navajo Nation says it's not been able to represent its own interests in disputes over water. Instead, they've been blocked in court by the U.S. federal government, which says it represents tribal interests in water disputes. The tribe's claim stems from federal policies that forcibly relocated tribes and their citizens westward and onto reservations, including the Navajo Treaty of 1868, said Heather Tanna, a law professor at the University of Utah. When they established these reservations, that came with the promise that those lands would be permanent homelands for the tribe and their people, said Tanana, who's a citizen of the Navajo Nation. I think everyone would agree you can't have a homeland without of any kind without water. Both the tribe and the U.S. government agree that Indian reservations, including the Navajo Nation, has a right to water. Now the Supreme Court must decide on how far the federal government's responsibilities go in reserving that right. Is the federal government the trustee and the Navajo Nation beneficiary, such as the ordinary trust law principles can be applied, said Gregory Ablovsky, who specializes in federal Indian law at Standard Law School. Ordinarily, he explained, a beneficiary can sue a trustee for mismanaging the trust, in this case, water. Sympathy for the tribe's position came from Justice Neil Gorsuch, a frequent supporter of native rights, who have often split from his fellow conservatives on cases involving Indian treaties. Could I bring a good breach of contract claim for someone who promised me a permanent home, the right to conduct agriculture and raise animals if it turns out it's the Sahara Desert? Gorsuch asked during Monday's oral arguments. No, the government's lawyers replied. Is it Gorsuch who's good on tribal issues? Yes, surprisingly. Yeah, he's the one. The U.S. has argued that a broad ruling in favor of the Navajo Nation could force the federal government to conduct an assessment of tribal water needs and build water supply infrastructure. Oh no! God forbid! Those responsibilities belong to the tribe. Just as the 1868 treaty didn't impose on the U.S. a duty to build roads or bridges or harvest timber or mine coal, the 1868 treaty did not impose on the U.S. A duty to construct pipelines, pumps, or wells to deliver water. Okay, but like, bro, these people are fucking human beings. I don't give a shit. What the fuck is wrong with you? What kind of like logic is that? What kind of logic is that? Jesus Christ. Several of the court's conservatives, including Samuel Alito, Brett Kavanaugh, appeared sensitive to that concern during Monday's hearing, which prompted assurances from Shea DeVos, the attorney arguing on behalf of the Navajo Nation. The government hypothesized a parade of horribles where the government would have to be building pipelines across miles and miles of territory. We're not talking about anything like that. States that rely on the Colorado River, including Arizona, California, and Nevada, also oppose the tribe's effort, saying that diverting water to reservation would come at the expense of their state's population and economies. Bro, are you fucking for real? Corporations are people and humans are a liability. True! Gotta think about the economy. A favorable ruling would not immediately solve the tribe's water access issues, the expert said, but it would allow the tribe's legal efforts around the Colorado River and other waterways to move forward. There isn't enough water, but that doesn't mean that the Navajo Nation does not have valid rights and that should be enforced. That they should have the ability to develop their water and play on the same level with any other stakeholder in the basin. Yeah, I mean, like, the fact that, like, anyone would argue that, like, yeah, dude, supplying, like, water, regardless, getting, like, water to human beings is, like, not their problem, is not the government's problem, really? And, like, states are arguing that that making sure that these people have water, that, you know, people that were forcibly relocated to these areas by the same federal government who is currently saying it's not my problem to say like, yeah, dude, we can't have that. It's the opposite of sewer socialism, yeah. Pretty sure it's the government's duty, exactly. Like, regardless, like, I don't give a shit. Like, bro, really? These are, like, human beings. A technology to convert seawater to potable water could solve it all. We do have we do have the capacity to have, like, desalinization plants, but, I mean, that takes a lot. It takes a lot. I don't even know how good it is at the scale required. But yeah, this desalinization plants do exist. Imagine having to face like federal battles to have the right to fucking water, dudes. Wild. Oh, I hope these indigenous folks are seen. And I hope the Supreme Court does the right thing. Regardless, like, having access to water is like one of the most like bare minimum things a fucking government can do. It is wild to me that we're in the Supreme Court arguing about this. Current tech is material and energy intensive, but there are a few upcoming techs which could remedy that. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm referencing. Yep. It would help if we could already have a renewable energy surplus. I mean, would. We should. We should be moving towards a society that has more and more renewable energy, and to the point where we don't need fossil fuels. But, you know. Back. All right. What did you miss? TLDR is wild that we're in the Supreme Court arguing about whether indigenous peoples should have access to water. It's the end of the world as we know it. Not yet. Ridiculous they don't have running water, electricity in some places. Yeah, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that, like, in the year of our Lord of 2023, this is still a thing. U.S. government never wanted the native nations to have anything. Seriously effed up. True. True. Isn't the oppression of Native Americans part of the history of America? Yeah. It indeed is. The lowest cost of desalination requires the highest energy output, oddly enough, but there are currently portable devices which can purify water with minimal energy. They just need to be put into production. Yeah, but like that does us no good here. We need some kind of like at scale desalinization schemes. This is as they are battling the ICWA. America did a genocide. So if you want to talk about the oppression of native peoples or indigenous peoples, yeah, America did a genocide. It's pretty much TLDR. America did a genocide, and here we are in the year of 2023 in the Supreme Court, arguing whether tribes should have access to water. Again, those tribes did not want to be there. They were forced there. So the government is coming for you without telling me the government is coming for you. Yeah. Have you done your taxes? Listen, we have until April, okay? We have until April. Build a fusion generator on every reservation as restitution. I mean, having the ability to have like renewable energy, I mean, should come as like par for the course. We have to pay for the energy. We should. All right, folks. It is right past 7 o'clock. I do have to get going. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for all the biddies. Thank you for the subscriptions and all the support. I appreciate it. You guys are what makes this channel grow. If you guys enjoy the content and you want to support the channel, but you can't do it monetarily, have no fear. You can hit the follow button. You can hit the follow button, and if you want to go even further beyond, hit the big red subscribe button on the YouTube. It really does help us out. Spread the word far and wide. We're here Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Tomorrow we'll see what happens if we wake up to some big news tomorrow. We'll also be doing the climate recap. I see that the Beckosphere is up to the climate recaps again. So we'll be going over that tomorrow. And big news. One could say bigly. We'll be paying attention bigly tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Maybe nothing. Maybe big news. We'll see. Tomorrow, 5 p.m. All right, folks. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. Thank you. I love the stream. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Sharpie Diesel. See ya, Dark Exorcist. See ya, Echo Resto Dragon. SV Harkin, thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Laters. All right, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.